Hi, everyone, and welcome to episode 5 of the ITOps Times live microwebinar series on internet resilience. I'm Jenna Barron, news editor of SD Times, and to catch up those who are joining us for the first time, in the first 4 episodes, we introduced and discussed why you should care about internet resilience, how internet resilience can help e-commerce, and how companies can improve network and API performance. All of these episodes are available on itopstimes.com in the webinar section of the Learning Center. Today, we'll be discussing how companies can improve their employees' digital experiences with Mark Towler. He's the Director of Product Marketing at Catchpoint, an observability platform provider focused on network and internet reliability and availability. So to kick things off, I'm curious what you think, like how obviously these days work has changed from in-person offices to more of a hybrid or remote setting. So how has that affected employee experiences?
That's an excellent question, Jen. And in fact, it leads right into what I was going to bring up. Um, it's probably fair to say, and history will judge, but it's probably fair to say that the shift to hybrid or remote work is one of the biggest business changes since the Industrial Revolution. Or if not, then certainly since the introduction of the concept of commuting. We've had tastes of this for a long time. Back in the 90s, in fact, I do recall that one of the big telcos was actually trying to save on office space by getting engineers to work from home once the internet was just barely big enough and capable of supporting them. But it was always a sort of ad hoc, minor people. You were lucky if you were able to work from home. Then the pandemic hit and everyone went home. And they did not come back, despite some urging. They're not coming back. And it's become very clear over the last year and a half or so that hybrid work and predominantly remote work is the new normal. We know that when people have tried to bring people back to the office, they just do not come. They quit, they find other jobs. And obviously, this is a limited sector of the economy. Restaurateurs and service and things like trash pickup, they're not going to be able to do it. But anyone who works in technology or any sort of information job, they've gone home and they've determined that productivity remains the same and everyone's happier. They're not commuting 2 hours a day. There are some changes and some adjustments. And a big one, though, is the infrastructure required to support this probably couldn't have been there, and we couldn't have done this 20 years ago, which presents some interesting challenges. I actually have a couple of slides, if we can throw those up now. Excellent. So the first one is that, let me blow that up a little bit. The first big one is that customers and employees are expecting flawless digital experiences. We all know that there's no patience anymore. Anyone has to wait 10 seconds even for your website to load, they're going to go to a competitor. That's customers. Employees expect the exact same level of frictionless digital experience. And well, they won't on a whim be able to just turn around and go to a competitor. That is something that they might eventually do. And in the meantime, productivity is down, they're getting frustrated, and everything's not working as well. It's suddenly become an issue because not everyone's in the office, not everyone's in a corporate location that is more tightly controlled. People are all over the world. And if they can't get to the services and the tools and the online systems they need to, then they can't work. Put it more simply, they can't connect, they can't get anything done. And that's been recognized. That last slide actually was a Forrester sourced one. These are not our opinions, by the way. This is third-party analyst opinion. IDC went and surveyed a number of IT organizations about the remote hybrid workplace. And the number one challenge they came up with is supporting remote workers. That's it, number one. Number two is giving them access to the data they need. And doing it consistently. So this is obviously a major, major issue. We can stop sharing here if we want to. So what do we do about this? We're in a situation where your employees aren't there. Your IT team can't just, walk down the hallway, hit the caps lock button so the guy's password works all of a sudden, that sort of thing. They've got to be able to remotely track these people. They've got to be able to remotely support them. And it's hard because they're not even in the same time zone. They're sometimes not even on the same continent. So the solution to this is some form of a workforce experience solution or application. And frankly, tooting our own horn, Catchpoint's got a really good one. There's a lot of tools that will tell you, all right, Salesforce is working. Microsoft Teams is working. There's a lot of other tools that will tell you, well, this person's laptop is working, or their desktop is working, or here's how much memory they're consuming, and here's what their CPU usage is. But there's a whole internet stack between those two areas. You've got your solutions and systems and networks, and then you've got the employees' devices. But between that, there's Wi-Fi, there's a router, there's a ISP, there's any one of 100 different systems that you're going through to get between those areas. We call that the internet stack. And most solutions will tell you one end or the other, but only Catchpoint's able to monitor the entire internet stack hop by hop so we can diagnose every single issue. And I'll give you an example because we use this ourselves, of course. We've had a few situations where I've been on a Teams call and it's spotty and it's laggy and it's not working. And one of the engineers on the call pulls up my information and can say, oh, Mark, I can see that your memory is fine, but your CPU is working really, really hard. Everything else between there is fine. Do you maybe have a few things open? And I look at the 70 different tabs I've got open and go, okay, yeah, I guess I could probably free up some memory and CPU usage, which is fine. But in similar situations, we've got one customer, for example, that spent months literally trying to deal with one remote customer who had intermittent problems and they couldn't, or sorry, one remote employee who had intermittent problems and they couldn't figure out what it was. They installed our workforce experience agent on that woman's laptop, and within minutes, and bear in mind this has been going on for months, and she'd been very carefully recording every single incident, every single problem. Within minutes, they were able to say, CPU's fine, laptop's fine, memory's fine, Wi-Fi's fine, router is dropping packets constantly. Oh, this is a router she gets from her local ISP, and it hasn't been changed in like 4 years. So one quick call, one new, and bang, all the problems are solved in minutes. Similar situations with other customers. In fact, one of our customers described it as having the mechanic sitting in the car next to you, so it makes a funny noise. You don't have to try and explain it to them. They can diagnose it and figure it out instantly.
Can you talk a little bit about the sort of how using one of these tools can help teams be more productive when they're working in a distributed way?
Absolutely. And in fact, that's kind of the challenge, isn't it? We've all had to shift from water cooler chats and everyone get together for a big meeting into the multiple daily Zoom calls and things like that. And again, a big part of it is making sure that everyone can connect. There's going to be different social and business requirements and how people do things and when and where. Even just trying to schedule a regular morning meeting when half your people, that's 4 a.m, the other half it's 5 p.m. That can be a challenge in and of itself. But tools like Teams with its instant chatting and its instant online conferencing for multiple people work out really well. Of course, now they've suddenly become a core part of your business, and suddenly making sure they work is critical. And in case of Teams, that's cloud-based. So you're not even completely reliant on anything that's under your own roof. That's not your system. That's not your product. You're licensing it from someone else. And you only have limited visibility into it, unless, of course, you have a system like Catchpoint that can go step by step all the way through. So the advantage of this is it makes it very easy to determine not only what kind of problems your your employees and your workforce are experiencing. And I got to say workforce instead of employees. We've got a lot of nonprofits, a lot of other organizations. It's not always someone working from you. It could be partners, clients, that sort of thing. Either way, when you've got these people who are trying to connect and they can't, it hurts productivity. A way to make that better is not only to provide tools like Teams and Zoom and various other bits and pieces that are going to be part of the modern office life, but also to help them self-serve. Like I said, the IT guy isn't in the building. He can't just walk over, look at your system and try and diagnose it. He can still dial in, but you've got to set up an appointment and all of that. With endpoints and workforce experience tools like Catchpoints, it's very simple to actually set up automation. So I could be in a situation where I'm going, hey, my Teams system is slow. And again, for a lot of this stuff, your people aren't going to open a ticket. If I get a little bit of jitter or lag in one of the 5 meetings I'm in each day, I'm not opening up a ticket or reporting that. I'm just going to be irritated, frustrated, and my productivity goes down. On the other hand, if I can click on a button and take it to a website that goes, all right, Mark, here's your laptop, here's your computer, here's your CPU usage, here's your entire link of issues all the way through. There's stuff I can fix. Reason you're having problems with Teams, Mark, is you had too many tabs open. Shut some tabs next time, or try rebooting your system. It's only been on for 3 weeks. Things like that. That takes that completely out of IT. IT is freed up to do other things. As well, you do get the advantage of mass view. I can see all of my employees. I can see all of my workforce. I can see them wherever they are in the world. And the global piece is really important. You do need some form of global observability network, which is something Catchpoint provides, in order to see everybody, as opposed to being very North America centric. And if you can do that, you can then go, all right, well, hold on. The people in Europe are having more trouble connecting. The people in Japan aren't. What is the problem there? Why aren't we able to support these people? Is it a problem with Teams? Is it a problem with us? And it makes it much easier to do mass diagnosis as opposed to individual whack-a-mole and trying to figure out which employees are able to connect and why not, and vice versa.
Awesome. That's about all the time we have for today. Thanks so much, Mark. We'll be doing another one of these on the 15th. At the same time, we'll be talking about how to improve website conversions. So join us for the next one.
Thank you very much, Jenna. It was a pleasure to be here.